Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today we got a wild one for you. So we had the standard challenge on MTGO this weekend, and it was won by this 5-color Invasion of Alara combo deck. And you're looking at this deck and you're like, what is this mana curve? This looks like the classic kitchen table mana curve, couple 2-drops and then straight into 5-drops and like 7-drops. But it's actually a really interesting kind of way this deck works. So Invasion of Alara enters the battlefield. You exile cards on the top of your library until you exile 2 non-land cards with mana value 4 or less. You may cast one of those cards. Of the 2 without paying mana cost, you put the other in your hand. So what happens is you mill through your deck. You'll always find at least one copy of Bramble Familiar. In this case, one Go for the Throat. And then how it's kind of phrased, the search criteria is the first part, and then you may cast. Whereas Beseech, the mirror, for example, says you may cast 4 CMC. So you're actually able to cast Fetch Quest and then mill 7 cards, put creature, enchantment, or land amongst the milled cards into play. So you can cheat into play. This one doesn't do... Yeah, so you can either find like Atraxa, Tali, you can do Virtue, like the actual Virtue side, Flesh Gorger, you can do Cemetery Desecrator, which then could remove counters from the Alara itself if you exile like a 7 CMC. So you get some value that way there. Then you can flip the Alara and get even more value. Leyline Binding can be hit, so lots of kind of cool interactions there. So the thing is, like, really, if you look at this curve, the way it's kind of shaped up, the deck really plays like this. So like Leyline most of the time will be like 1 mana. So it's a lot more reasonable of a curve when you factor in like, you can search for lands with this part of Herd Migration. This is a 2 mana removal spell that also gains you some life. And then kind of playing it out. Your Flesh Gorgers deals with like just more lifelink early on. So kind of a cool configuration of the deck there. So this won the full challenge. The sideboard plays similar, so there's some unique cards in here to kind of account for the fact you have to play a weird mana consideration. So normally you want counter spells while you're playing Mirror Shell Crab, which can be channeled in this case. Fade to History, Artifact and Enchantments, Parasitic Grasp, creature removal with lifelink, another Flesh Gorger. In like the grindier matchups, you have Up the Beanstalk, so you kind of swap the Go for the Throat with the Up the Beanstalk instead. And then you have Elish Norn for the ramp matchup mirrors, Thrun for counter spells, Yadaro for like creature mirrors that you can fight. It's also going to be blow up artifacts, enchantments. The one thing, they played another Luca in the sideboard. Just playing Nissa, I'm actually out of wildcards for Mythics. For whatever reason, I just haven't been getting Mythic wildcards. And then we have like another copy of Atraxa when it's relevant. So if you want to play card for card 100%, play the Luca, but I'm just playing Nissa on the side instead. So we are going to give this one's a wild one, and we're going to give it a shot, see how it plays out. I'll do the full weekend recap on all the tournaments that took place this weekend between MTG Melee as well as MTGO, and then, Standard Best of 3. And we'll kind of go from there. There's also this Pia list that won a tournament in Asia that had like 140 players. So we'll take a look at that one as well. But this one's a really cool interaction. So I wanted to give it a shot to see how it plays out. Like the curve, I'm a little worried against like hyper aggro. And it's also interesting to see how it plays into counter spells. There was actually a good number of fairy decks that placed within the top 8 and 16 of the standard challenge, and those brought 6+ counter spells, and this was able to win through that. So we'll see. Actually curious how many lands are in this deck. 27. This hand is pretty bad. Like, we have Leyline, but we're a ways away and I don't have black mana. Okay, we'll keep this hand. Put Luca back. And of course, mono red. Okay. Tarkir is a fine second drop. It doesn't do too much damage. And if they're going to devote energy to it, I'm happy, I think, with that. Let's get Bramble Boy going. Weird art on this card. I think that's fine. They're on that. The question is... So I'm probably just going to play this out. So that way I have the ley line. I think it's wrong in this matchup that they're prioritizing these invasions. So I'm going to get rid of the Bloodthirsty Adversary here. Okay, so we can Alara next turn. And then I can follow it up with Cemetery Desecrator. And here they've been spending a lot of resources dealing with, like, just trying to do these. We'll get rid of the Defiant Thundermaw here. And then next turn we get to do the invasion. So they can have like another shock here. So we'll do Fetch Quest. So I could do Virtue of Persistence, and then that gets me back the Desecrator the following turn. But I think we get back Desecrator. We exile the Virtue. We remove X counters. So target player draws 2 cards. Tap target permanent an opponent controls. We don't have an artifact. Flush Gorger would have been nice there. Distribute among... Create a token copy of a permanent you control. Let's create a copy there. Oh, that destroys a permanent. Oh, shit. Okay, this is like sweet. Okay, there's a lot of layers to this deck. So we just like Stone Rained them, did all this stuff. Okay, that was cool. That was cool. Okay, so Flush Gorger's in, that in. Probably like a Traxa on the top end in. I don't think we want the Lucas. Okay, so this does technically mean we could whiff, but I think we want as much removal as possible. Probably just trim an Atali, because like Atrax is harder for them to deal with, given that it's 7 power. Sideboarding's really weird for this deck. Casual turn. They wasted too much time. They gave us too much like leeway. go Bramble here. That could let me double spell. Guess we could just pass the turn, and then I just go for the their threat here. If they don't do anything, then I herd migration. So we do take a point of damage here. We got Virtue of Persistence, which is nice. So I think we just herd migration this turn, get a swamp. And then I can double spell next turn. I think they have a spell. So gain 3 life. Okay, so no shock there, it's nice. So they did have the invasion that they were holding. That takes Bramble off, but we are just curving. We should have... Perfect. So white, black, red. Jetmir's red, invasion's there. Almost whiffed. I would love a Flesh Gorger. Casual takes 7. Thank you. We did mill over all our ley lines, which kind of sucks. That's 7 draws. So I got 2 Flesh Gorgers in the yard. And the herd migration. So we'll exile the herd migration. Remove 7 counters off this. So we'll draw 2 cards. We will... I think we destroy the invasion. We will copy the Cemetery Desecrator. Maybe I should have copied a land. And then, yeah, they're basically dead. Okay, this is sweet. Especially beating mono red, like their draw wasn't the fastest, but lots of incidental life gain. The one thing I'm thinking, because you can get away with having sweepers, is it just that we don't have enough white mana? But I feel like you would. So 1 white source, 3, 6, 9, 10 for double white. You can tutor it. Okay, we'll play a little bit more, but I think I wouldn't mind having access to like Sunfall somewhere in the 75. That was really cool. So always find your Bramble. I'm kind of like, I crafted Lucas for this deck, so now it's like, now we gotta play Lucas. Even though I think maybe Sunfall might be better. Luca does help you ramp. Hand's a little sketch, but we go first, so we'll give it a shot. This could be a mirror. Drawing 2 Brambles isn't great. I mean, we do have a tally for the mirror. Okay, so they're the more traditional ramp deck. Let's just do this. I don't really get value from this at this point, and I want to be able to tally next turn. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. I probably wasn't blocking anyways. So they'll get the flip here. They are at 14, so depending like what we hit off a tally could have some value. Even if we hit like a ramp effect. What do we get? Don't love that. We did mill over one of theirs. Ah, shit. So they're on breach main. Okay, so we just die. Okay, so Elish Norn, we want the Mirror Crabs. I want up the Beanstalk in this matchup. Probably want Nissa. Get rid of the Flush Gorgers. The Virtue of Persistence aren't great. Trim on a maybe 2 Cemetery Desecrators. Play another Atraxa. Because we got to be mindful that they have the Let's play a second Flush Gorger. Actually, might want Luca. I guess Desecrator is removal versus like a 7-drop. Breach is a big mirror breaker. Because they get the choice, where we don't get the choice with Atali. Just bad flip. Like, we hit a breach, then we're probably, like, really good. This mana's pretty terrible. Need to hit a line drop. So we'll Herd Migration for a swamp here. "27 lands. Don't hit your other line drop for the turn. Love it for us. It would have been good if we could have got Bramble down. So they Herd Migration back. the last game they were gonna like hit us with Breach. And okay, so we got the Myrex. Just gonna get this down. And then we'll just start holding up this and making tokens. If I hit another land, okay, double up the beanstalk. Just hold off this turn. I think we just passed the turn. Missing line drops really hurts here. So much value. So this feels much worse in the ramp mirror, just because we have a lot of cards. We're just missing way too many line drops at this point. The ability to play more copies of Up the Beanstalk is really impactful, I think. And now just being able to do this is also really good. Because we needed that. And now, like, yeah, let's just go to the next game. The problem is every card they cast draws them 2, so even though we have this one counter, it's not doing a huge amount. One thing playing that game is we probably want the fades to Antiquity to destroy, because the problem is that it destroys our enchantments as well, but it might be that they're playing more that matchup. So we saw the highs, we saw the deck kind of suck, so it might be that, like, that's one thing to consider when playing these types of decks. How do they play into the more common builds? And looks good. So I'm going to lead on Rafine's Tower because we can make green mana off Llanowar Waste. We can fetch a red source. Oh, don't even need it. This is control. Probably just Llanowar Waste. Probably want to get a second red still for Tali. Might have been right to get rid of Virtue there just to keep hitting line drops. So I have white. I need red. So we'll get red. I mean, at a certain point, we could just keep jamming threats. We obviously just have to get to the requisite mana. So I have multiple black sources. Mind you, one is a pain. I'm limited on green, so let's get green here. Last turn. Might be a long one. Okay, so we have Wandering Emperor. We can Virtue of Persistence it.
May your blade strike true.
We're gonna have to take Ledger off. They may not be on as many counter spells. We're gonna have to take Ledger off the battlefield.
Show them how we greet our enemies.
Leyline Binding would be good. So good at this game. Get rid of that.
I'm never done for good.
Next turn, I can Desecrator, get rid of Herd Migration, kill that, or the Ledger Shredder itself. Probably Shredder here. And then we can Atali the following turn. So we do need to get rid of something with dark. Yes, we have to get something with 3 CMC. Okay, cycle there is good. We're still at 17 life, which is nice. If I can jam this Atali next turn, it'll be good. We probably go Atali first. Them hitting another land is good. Spin to win! Friend, I wanted to spin Atali again. Okay, so like Esper, midi range. So we definitely want Thrun here. Probably want the Parasitic Grasp. Probably want Flesh Gorger. I think we take out Luca's. Still don't understand why Luca's in this deck. Probably Atraxa. Because like Atali gives me multiple points of value where the Atraxa can get killed that turn. I think we just run it like that. I don't think we want counters in this matchup because like they're going to bring in counter spells now. I do think the Lucas should just be a sweeper, whether it be like Gix Command or something like that. Sunfall, just something of that nature. This hand is not going to work. For 27 lions, we're not seeing a lot of them. I think we put Desecrator back. We all in on Invasion. Hopeless Nightmare. I think we get rid of Seiju. Red, blue, white. Okay, so they did bring in Spell Pierce. I shouldn't have attacked there. Because if they have Wandering Emperor, they can exile my Bramble here. That was a mistake. Do we go for it? Okay. So they had both, which is a little annoying. We're in a pretty rough spot now. This matchup I could see being pretty bad for us. Just gonna get rid of Atali here. Like 3 discard effects. Feels pretty bad. Oh man. That feels awful. So we're in top deck mode. Alara does it for us, which would be nice. We've milled 3 Brambles already. Okay, so they're like Esper mid. We'll do this on their turn. Probably should have killed this in response because they find a counterspell here. But they showed Spell Pierce. So we could still play through Spell Pierce. Just keep playing outlines, I think. Interesting version of Esper. A lot of disruption in here. Probably should have held off that turn, but I don't think it made much of a difference.
Anyone who harms my people must contend.
Just get rid of Wandering Emperor now.
Keep watch for intruders. See you later.
So this is bad because it could reanimate my Italis. Give me something. Okay, Thren's not bad. They did show Shelley's Edict. So hopefully they don't have a copy. Because this lets them flip the invasion.
Protect the people.
When it's all gas. We've had 4 cards discarded from our hand this game. All of which would have helped. Okay, so they're on the Spell Pierces. That flips. Probably the worst. Okay, it's a 4/4, not a 7/7. Ledger Shredder. Leyline Binding. They get another Emperor back. I have another. That just enters as a copy. So this is where we'd want Sunfall, right? I'll give this one more turn.
I have got new moves to teach you.
So I think we just chump here. They basically got us on this one. They had a lot of discard. So doing this just so they don't get another Atali. Untap blind. Untap blind, no counterspell. Yeah, that's the problem. Let's go to the next game. So we're extremely susceptible to cheap counterspells. So not where we want to be necessarily in that case. In that case, I think we... No, because I can't. Because if they steal this, then it shuts off my whole deck. So I still think we want the Atalis. Maybe we play Mirror Shell Crab or just do a split. Play an Atraxa. Just hope that they don't have the cheap counters. Because like if that Alara comes through, we probably win. I was hoping that they just had like Wandering Emperor that turn. Okay, we'll keep. Probably play this out. This kind of forces them into having the removal. Tap out, tap out, tap out. Okay, that was a good one because this... Okay, so the Edict there. Throne at least lets me put pressure on them. Do they have second Edict? Because like if their hand is 2 Edicts in the top 11, I'm gonna be real annoyed. Oh my god. That's insane. Counter. Yeah. Oh no, I need a colorless line. No. No. Can't Alara this turn. Rig, that was my opening. Because now they're gonna get card draw. Frustrating.
But we can. Now, what do we have here?
think we jam Atraxa here. No disdainful, no disdainful, no disdainful, no disdainful, no disdainful. No. So frustrating. So frustrating.
Thanks.
I don't think this deck's consistent enough to play. Yeah. We had the cool first game, but I'm kind of annoyed I spent wild cards. Let me know what you think, if you have any better luck with it, but playing into counterspell heavy decks is going to be rough, and you get kind of outpaced by some of the ramp decks as well. Cool kind of idea, but I don't know if it's consistent enough. In any case, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great one. Stay safe out there.